Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy, Green Pastures Farm. Today I'm coming at you from a eastern Gama grass field, and the cows are doing well on this. We put them in here this morning. You can see that's the actual root of a Gama grass plant. It kind of almost looks like a flower bulb, doesn't it, honey?
Mm-hmm, like the iris.
Yeah. But it's got a self-regulating mechanism in it as far as the cattle aren't going to graze it much shorter than that. It gets kind of woody, stocky down in here, and the cows are after more of the soft,
more palatable.
Yeah, palatable leaves. That's where your energy's the highest. We've got 370 some animals in here. They were put in here this morning right before the rainstorm came. And they'll be taken out of here tonight around 5 o'clock. What they've done is they've came in here and taken the top parts, and now they're kind of going back and just cleaning up kind of what they skipped this morning. There is a lot of different varieties of forages in here, honey. If you look right down here, you can see. You know, you've got your clover, you've got your Korean lespedeza, of course you got your eastern Gama grass. And there's some forbs and other things, some weeds in here, but the animals are getting a pretty darn good diet in here. Yeah, that's red clover right there. Here's the wild soybean. Somebody calls it peanut. We call it here in Missouri stick tight or beggar's lice. It is a legume. The animals love it. But the animals are all looking really good. We're really happy with our performance we're getting on this Gama grass. It can be grazed every 30 days all summer long. And that's because it likes hot weather. It can take dry weather. It really excels when it gets some wet weather, which, you know, there's no wood around here to knock on, but we've been having some pretty good moisture here this summer, which we're kind of due. We've had some dry summers, and so it's nice to have, you know, I don't know if you call it normal, but it's been a good summer. So far. The animals, of course, we're in winter stockpile mode now. They're really starting to crank the weight on, and that they need to be cranking some weight on because we can get pretty cold here in the winter time, and it's nice to go in the winter with a nice, you know, not overly fat, but just, you know, carrying good condition.
But a nice body score.
Yeah, nice body condition score of 7. And,
at least.
you know, I always use the word fat, and some of my YouTubers are like, well, you don't want a fat cow. And I'm like, okay,
a robust.
Yeah, robust, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. I just don't want to see any bones showing on the back of the cow. I like to see all those bones covered up with flesh. And that's a body condition score of about 7, okay? If you can go in the winter with your cows around a body condition score of 7, they're going to do pretty well. They're going to be able to take the cold weather. They're not going to lose weight.
Carry their babies.
Take care of the baby just fine, or you know the calf. Because we don't wean the calves, we let the mothers wean the calves. You see this young calf right here, honey? Look at that. That's a weed. We notice young calves, for whatever reason, they will go after those weeds more so than their mothers do. I don't know. You know, that young calf is telling us something. That weed's not too bad a weed if that calf is eating it.
It's probably have some nutrients, vitamins.
Probably. Something that it needs. Now it's chewing on a little bit of Gama.
So it's self-selecting.
Yep, that's a pretty nice little heifer calf right there.
So when was the last time we were down here filming last with the bulls in here? So how many days has it been since we've had livestock in here? We had the sheep.
Well, today is August 10th. We were here about a month ago. Now, we wouldn't have came back in here in 30 days in the middle of summer if this had been cool season grass. Cool season grasses are fescues, clovers, brome, timothy, red top, bluegrass. They don't grow in the summertime, so you can't come in 30 days. This is eastern Gama grass. It can take it. Every 30 days you can come right back and graze it again because it just grows back. And the clovers, my goodness, it's crazy. We did some clipping We just came off a farm that we clipped about 40 days ago. They're completely recovered. The red clover, it's all budded out again. It's just beautiful stuff. But that's the beautiful thing about warm season grasses is you can graze them more frequently, about every 30 days, all summer long.
We had the sheep in here too since the bulls, just shortly.
No, we didn't.
Oh.
No, we skipped this. Remember, you were on that. We brought them down that lane. And we
Oh,
shot them across the road.
that's right, we
Remember
did.
That?
Yep, yep.
Because we wanted to save this for the mob.
Okay.
And so we skipped this. We'd taken the bulls out, and they'd only been out about 25 days, or 20 days. And so we made a lane and shot the sheep flock across the road. They didn't get to graze this. I think that was a masterful move because now you can see what we're getting here. Folks, when you can take, let's just say 350 or 370 animals, a herd this size, and put them on a field and harvest all this feed. And this is high quality feed. We're talking, a pound and a half, 2 pounds of type, a pound and a half to 2 pounds of gain per day on every animal in here. Multiply that out, $1.20, $1.50, some of these younger calves, $1.70 a pound. That's true. At $1.70 a pound, or putting on 2 pounds, that's $3.40 per calf. Okay, multiply that out times 100. So I say true wealth is in the soil. Healthy soil produces really quality forage like this. I got to look at this bull. Look at this. Folks, this is a yearling bull right here. I mean, my goodness. He just now turned a year old. I mean, that is a beautiful animal. That's the kind of animal that make you some money. You get him as a herd sire and put him in on these bigger frame cows, get your cow size down, that bull will make you a ton of money because he's going to give you females to put in your herd that are around 1,000 pounds. That's what they'll mature out at, about 1,000 pounds.
Is he for sale?
No, he will be next year. But we're going to have some bulls this fall. We've got some bulls probably into September. Those will be for sale. But I mean, you just can't build them any prettier than that at a year of age. I mean, he is just super slick, very fine bone.
Now, what do you mean by fine bone?
Fine bone meaning the bones on his legs down there. It looks like a deer. Everybody that I grew up with, all the old time, you got to have a big bone on your bull. No, you don't. You don't want a big bone. You can't eat it. And a big bone on an animal just means that they're going to get big. They're going to cost you a lot of money. They're going to eat a lot of forage. And you're probably going to have to feed them some supplement in the wintertime to keep them going, which means open up your pocketbook, throwing some cash out to keep that thing alive in the wintertime. You don't want to do that. They ought to be able to stay alive on what's out here on the field, and that bull can. And he'll stay in that condition. This bull's been breeding cows, and that's a young bull, but he's been breeding. He still looks like that. So, yeah, I think you've got to have a grazing operation should be focused on grazing, not inputs. And a lot of people today are feeding their animals a lot of stuff that's not forage, and they're complaining about it because they're not making any money. Well, I'm sorry, but you don't have the right genetics.
Well, I thought it was funny. I went to MFA to get salt, which is Missouri Farm Association, and the lady said, "Well, how are your cattle doing?" I said, "Oh, they're grazing really good." And she said, "Well, a lot of our cattlemen are actually grazing more this year because they have forage." And I thought that was kind of funny. Good, but yeah. I thought that was an interesting comment.
They're actually grazing.
They're actually grazing.
Yeah.
But something I want to, so, like the bulls came out, we didn't let the sheep in here. Did you guys just decide this on a whim?
No.
So
No,
what do you guys do?
Well, we have a calendar that we use as a grazing chart, and we keep track on that calendar where the animals are, where they need to be going. We got, like this, for instance, on Thursday, we have it written down on our calendar. We have a bull customer coming in to get a bull. And so we need to be focused on where the animals are. Can we get that bull out? In other words, is there going to be a handling facility we can load at? We have people coming in to get some steers in a couple weeks. Same deal. You need to look at where your animals are, focus on how to get those animals out. where they need to be, and you need to be looking at the grass recovery. If the grass isn't ready to graze, don't graze it. And when I mean ready to graze, I mean like this. So, that was not a very, here we go. So this one's already been grazed off. That was ripped off by probably that bull. Here's one that hasn't been grazed off. So it's got a nice sharp point like a pin on it, okay? And the point can tell you a lot too. If you look at the point of your grass and it's dried up, a couple inches down on that grass, you should have been there a couple weeks ago. In other words, that plant is overly mature and it's already turning brown on the end. The palatability on it's going down.
The sugars.
Yep, and so is the gain. You've lost that gain. You never get that back. And so people say, well, Greg, it looks like you're not clipping as much this year as you did last year. You all would be right. We're not. And that's because we did a pretty darn good job on a lot of these pastures by keeping them very vegetative, clipping them right with the cow herd, getting a good graze to trample ratio on them, and you don't have to clip. But some of the pastures got away from us, and those are the ones that we're going back and clipping.
I think you've got some cattle out over there.
No, that's on the other side of the wire.
Oh, okay. I'm a little worried here.
We have a filter strip over there that is fenced, and Jan's looking at, well, there's cows on this side wire. Intentionally, they should be over there.
Okay.
There's a creek over there, and we actually brought them in that way. Then we opened the gate over here,
Okay.
where they can come into the Gama. We've got a water tank coming out of a pond over here, and it's not much of a flow for this big a herd. And we knew that tank couldn't keep up. This is too many animals, so we gave them an overflow over here. With that rain we got this morning, the creek has got water in it that deep all the way across, so we got plenty of water. And we're only going to be on it for a day, and so I don't mind using the creek for a short period of time. I don't like to park animals in there and leave them. All you're asking for is then to destroy the creek, destroy the banks. It just makes a muck of the area. But put a bunch of animals in there and move them off. It does wonders. It absolutely does wonders. Yeah, so I like what I see here. The Gama is all being grazed off about evenly. There's not a lot of long, tall leaves left anywhere. And they've still got another hour and 15 minutes to kind of go through here and clean it up. But what's so, gratifying to me is when I leased this farm, folks, it was drilled with the corn planter, this Gama was, and there was bare soil between the plants, between the rows. There was this much bare soil between the rows. Look down at the ground today. There is no bare soil. So we're actually capturing more energy. When the sunlight comes down, it doesn't hit bare soil anymore. Bare soil doesn't grow you any food. It doesn't grow any food. It doesn't capture any rainwater. It doesn't hold the rainwater where it falls. You've got to have your soil covered. And the only way we did this is with ruminant animals. Grazing it, getting them off. We didn't put any seed down here, none. No seed was put down. And we haven't fed any hay on this because this is Eastern Gama grass field. Usually in the wintertime, the Eastern Gama will graze a little bit of it, but you don't get a lot of good grazing off Eastern Gama in the winter because it goes woody. It turns brown and the cows don't eat it very well. But there is some fescue in here, so we'll graze the fescue in the wintertime. But, we might feed some hay down here. The problem with feeding hay down here, it is a bottom. If you get a lot of rain, it can get pretty mucky down here. So, yeah, you gotta watch the rainfall. This heifer behind us, this is what those bulls will produce for you. Look at this one. So there's a heifer, first calf heifer. I mean, she is a beaut. You just really can't build them much prettier than that. That little heifer will weigh about 850 pounds. And when she gets mature, she's going to be about 1,000. And that's the kind of young cow that'll make you a ton of money. She'll stay in the herd a long time. She's just what we call a grass thriving machine. Okay, there's no soybean pellets being held to her. That's what aggravates me a little bit. A lot of people are feeding soybean hulls and calling it grass fed or whatever. That's it. That's still feeding them grain, folks. So
ours are grass finished.
These are grass finished. That's right. They've never had a bite of grain in their life, and they look that way on grass. And if you're going to start your own operation, unless you're independently wealthy, you want to just give the input people all your money, that's what you need to be focused on. Really. That's just the way it is. So I think with that, we're going to go. Oh, I want to make a mention on the cowbirds. I wish I could have got a picture of it, but I couldn't. They were flying. But there's a flock of cowbirds now following this mob, and there's probably, I don't know, 200 to 300 birds in this flock, and they just land in the middle of the flock. But I see them a lot where the mob has been, right behind them. So the mob moves out, the cowbirds are on the previous paddock. And I got to looking at what these cowbirds are doing. They're going in there and they're harvesting flies. The fly pressure. How many of y'all have flies on your cattle? Yep, that's right. This is August. It's hot. It's humid. Flies are being hatched out of these manure paths. There's not hardly any flies on these cattle. Well, look at that. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 on her back right there.
There's some on her face, but not.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, there's hardly any flies on these cattle. And part of that is the genetics. That makes a big difference. Slick-hided animals, they slick off good. The other thing is we're moving our animals, leaving the fly load, a lot of it behind us. We're leaving that fly load behind us. So just moving your animals to fresh pasture leaves the flies back there. That's what those birds, the cowbirds, are chewing on. They're eating those darn flies out there, which a lot of people don't like cowbirds. And that's because they actually, I guess, they'll pick the egg out of it, other nest of another bird, and take it out and put their egg in there. And the reason they do that is they've evolved over the thousands of years following the buffalo and the large herds of ruminants. They had to follow this herd. They didn't have time to lay a nest and hatch any little babies, so they put an egg in there and move on. Well, you know, it's still a bird. What are you going to do? You going to go out and try and shoot them all? No, we're going to use them. They're actually eating the flies. They're picking a lot of the larvae. They're eating a lot of insects. So I say bring on the birds.
And we've made a lot of habitat for the songbirds.
We've made a lot of habitat. Of course, we got 450 tree swallow houses up, and a lot of those have bluebirds in them. So I like that part because the bluebird is the official state bird of Missouri. We probably have more bluebirds than any farm in Missouri because of all the nest boxes we have up. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Everyone, hit that subscribe button on the way out and that like. I'd appreciate it, and we'll see y'all down the road.